This week on LHV's Shop, I get concrete. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of LHV's Shop. This week we're installing a speedo corrector in the Hilux. Alright, so I'm pretty much going to film the whole episode from the driver's seat. So everything I need to do is in the instrument cluster, and everything I need is this. So I need this and a couple of wires. So this is a speedo corrector. I got it from J-Car. So as you can see, it's got an input and an output down the bottom. That's for the speed signal. And then it's got a power and a ground up the top. So that's just to power the little box up. Then it's got a little LED over here and some instructions. So it should be pretty simple to use, but we'll soon find out. So what I need to do is I need to find an earth, which I have found. I need to find a ignition 12 volt. And I need to find the speedo signal wire. So I had a quick look on the forums, and I've found a small little write-up to say which wire is what. So then I found a wiring diagram, which gives me the connector that goes into the back of the instrument cluster, and then I found the pin out for that plug and found the 3 wires I need. So I need a yellow wire, which is the earth. I need a pink wire with a blue stripe, which is the speedo signal, and then I need a black wire with a brown trace, which is the 12 volt ignition. So I found those 3 wires. They're all pretty much right next to each other, which is super easy. So the plan is to splice the top 2, just T into the power and the earth, and then the bottom 2 I have to cut the speed signal and put either end of what I've cut on this. So it'll come into the box, then out of that box into the instrument cluster. So this is just going to be in the way, disrupting the signal. I'll cut these wires and put a fair old length on them and poke it out of the dash, put the instrument cluster in, then I can go for a drive. And then once everything's all set and organized, I can pull the dash out, push the speedo corrector back behind the dash, secure it with some zip ties, and then put the instrument cluster back in. So it should be a reasonably straightforward install. Alright, so here's a better view of the speedo corrector box. So as you can see up here, it says speed correction. It's got a little diagram of the little switches, and then it's got the positions that you need to put it in. So I'm assuming I have to take this apart, which is only 2 screws, and switch some stuff around and then put this cap back on. So it should be pretty simple. Over here you got your input, your output. So that's the speed signal that you need to interrupt, which is the pink wire with blue trace. and then it's got the ground and 12 volt. But this was about 50 bucks from Jaycar. So it's a Digitech branded, so if you don't have Jaycar, then that's what you're looking for. There's the part number and everything. And this is the version 2. So the original one, you had to actually solder the circuit board back together. So it says here, when you modify a gearbox, diff ratio, or change the large circumference tyre, may result in inaccurate speedometer. This module fixes that, pretty much. So I've changed wheels and diff, so I need that. So I just showed me going through the wiring diagram, and this is the plug I was looking at. This is the C8 and this is the C9 plug. So this one I don't really need to worry about. So the C8 plug has like 40 pins on it or whatever, but the only ones I'm interested in are 21 and 22, which is this yellow one here, which I've pulled out, and this black one with brown trace, which is 21 and 22, which hopefully you can see there in the corner, and then the front of the plug, and there you go. So those two, and then the pink one with a blue trace is the speed signal. So I'll have to cut the speed signal and T into it. So it'll go into the box and back through to this. Whereas the power and the earth that I've got, I'll just strip this back a little bit and T into it and just steal a little bit of power. Alright, so I've got on my lap 2 bits of twisted wire. So these are the leftovers from the central locking kit that I installed. So I always like to put one end of the 2 wires into the drill and hold the other ends with the pliers, and then just pull the drill, turn it on, and it spins it all together. So I probably should have done this a little bit tighter, but that'll do for what I want. Just stops the 2 wires going their own path. So now I'll splice one end of one of these wires into the power and the earth, and one end of the other wire into the speedo signal, and then the other 2 ends of each wire can go to the box. And then I'll be able to put this on the outside of the dash cluster, so have the wires in there, have the box outside so I can adjust it, and then when I'm all done I can hide all this in there. Let's do that. Alright, so sorry for the wacky camera angle, but I need to check some wires because I don't trust anything. So I've got a multimeter, I'm just going to set it on voltage, and I'm going to strip back the 2 wires that I think are correct, which is this yellow one here. So I'll just chuck these auto stripper thingies on there, get a nice piece of copper showing, and then I'll get the earth wire, which is the one next to it, the black one with the brown trace, this wire here, do the same on that, strip it back a bit, nice. Alright, so what I want to do now is, without zapping myself, connect the wire to the multimeter. So I've got the wires connected to the multimeter. We've got all zeros. So now if I put the key in and turn it to ignition, we should get 12 volt if this wiring is correct. And the wipers are on. So we've got 12 volt, turn the key off, goes back to 0. Turn it on, back to 12 volt. Perfect. Alright, so now I just need to work out which one is positive and which one is negative. Given that I've got the wiring diagram, that should be pretty easily achieved. But for now, what I'm going to do is take the yellow wire out, which I'm pretty sure is the earth. I'm going to put it to earth and then do the same thing again. So put the key in, turn it to accessories, and try and get 12 volt, which I have got. So now if I turn the key off, it goes back to 0. Alright, so cool. The black wire with the brown trace is the 12 volt ignition, and the yellow wire is the earth. So that's pretty cruisy, pretty simple. So now I'll wire it up, and then we can cut the speed signal wire and look into that a bit further. So we've got the speedo corrector wired up. So we've got a power and a ground from the back of the cluster, and we've got the speedo wire interrupted. So now I just need to flick the key on and hope that the LED turns on, and I think it's supposed to flash. Got everything on. Maybe not, because the car's actually not started. Alright, so I just went inside and grabbed the instructions, taken the cover off of the speedo corrector. So you can see here you've got the little dials, and then just up here you've got a little jump pin with all of the LK3, LK2, LK4s. This is really hard to film. Anyway, so link functions here, it says which ones are what and what pin you should have where. And then on the other side, it's got a full write out of what to do. So I'll run through this, do what all the stages say, and try and get this thing to work, and then we'll get back updated. Alright, so that was not the test drive I was hoping for. So the radio's on security mode because I disconnected it. I've got an engine light because of this thing, and I've got an airbag light because of the seats. So this is a great start. I actually can't get this thing to work, so I'm going to have to keep digging and see what I've done wrong, but I can't get it to work at all. LED is supposed to be flashing, and there's a little link pin here and a little link pin just here, and I've tried all the combinations and I can't get that to work either. So I have to have a look into what I've done and see if I've stuffed something up or if this is just not working.